Welcome to Uncloaked Illusions. I'm Chris Anthony, and I wanted to share a little geopolitical news with you. U.S. troops train for sub-zero combat as tensions with Russia, North Korea rise. The U.S. Army and Marine Corps recently announced their plan to roll out cold weather gear for American ground forces in preparation for potential wars with North Korea and Russia as tensions continue to rise. For decades, both the Army and Marine Corps have become accustomed to fighting in the deserts of the Middle East. However, both services are now getting ready to fight in the cold as Russian-American relations reach new lows and tensions between Washington and Pyongyang in North Korea. We don't want the cold to hibernate us, said Sergeant Daniel Bryan of the U.S. Army's Light Fighter School. Business Insiders reported, we want to be physically and mentally prepared. Fighting in the cold is not as easy as just putting on more layers of clothing, though. You have to train to the environment. You can't just show up and expect to survive, said Brian Effler, the 10th Mountain Division's deputy commanding officer, according to the Business Insider. The 10th Mountain Division is a light infantry division in the U.S. Army based in Fort Drum, New York. The division is the only one of its capacity specially trained in fighting in Arctic and mountainous conditions. Over the last few weeks, soldiers from the 10th Mountain Division have participated in winter training operations while wearing new gloves, headgear, socks, gaiters, parkas, and trousers. The division also received shorter and wider skits that can be more easily maneuvered by inexperienced soldiers in snowy conditions. The Marine Corps have also been focusing its efforts on extreme cold operations. Last month, the Corps made requests for caps and gloves suitable for intense cold. The divisions ask for gloves that are fast drying and water repellent in temperatures below 50 degrees Fahrenheit. The Marines also want the gloves to be touchscreen friendly. Interesting. In addition, the Corps is planning on allocating $12.47 million in 2018 to purchase 2,648 sets of the NATO ski system for scout snipers, reconnaissance Marines, and some infantrymen. Business Insider reported. According to Marine Corps Commandant General Robert Neller, the Marine Corps Rotational Force Europe, based in Norway, would be the first to test out the new equipment. No Marine is going to leave here unless they know how to ski. Neller said in December military.com report. Okay. During a December address to Marines in Norway, Neller said, I hope I'm wrong, but there's a war coming. There's a war coming. I think probably the intended focus is not on the Middle East. The focus is more on the Pacific and Russia. Military.com reported. Some of the soldiers who endured frostbite during the war faced different health issues decades later, including infections, skin cancers, joint deterioration, and extreme sensitivity to cold. In some cases, veterans lost limbs. I always had problems, but I never paid too much attention to them until I got older and I started getting worse and worse and worse, said Ernst. Now, okay, sharing this article, what do you think? What is your opinion about these saber rattlings that are still happening between the United States and Russia, and using also North Korea as a proxy. Mind you, foolishly for anyone. I've heard a saying that, there's stupid, there's very stupid, I believe, and then there's going to war with Russia or trying to invade Russia. Now, what is interesting is, remember 1812 when Napoleon fell to the Tsar Alexander I, trying to invade Russia, and the Nazi in 1941 during the World War II, the Battle of, Stalingrad. And they also fell to Russia, because they could not fight in those conditions. And, the Russians, they're adapted to those conditions. They know how to maneuver through those extreme colds. And this is disturbing because it just highlights that no matter what, we have a president that is interested in coexisting with Russia. That's actually gotten North Korea and South Korea to actually talk. And we have this deep state apparatus, bureaucrats still pushing for a hot war, not a cold war, but a hot war. And this is just the evidence that they are gearing up for a potential future war, whether it's relatively sooner or later. They are pushing for the same thing that you heard Donald Trump, now President Trump, fight against. He wanted to regulate, and he also wanted to normalize relationships with Russia and the United States. But again, you have these deep state operatives that want something completely different. And let's not fool anyone or ourselves. This has everything to do with the dollar crashing. This has everything to do with countries moving away from the dollar and sending dollars back to the United States. And you have to keep in mind that we're going to be the ones hurt more than any other country because we are importers. We don't really produce anything but trash and porn. So we're going to be the ones left hurting, and, no one wins a nuclear war, bottom line. And give me your comments about this, the U.S. Announcing its training to possibly go to war, and the probability is high to go to war with Russia or North Korea. How do you feel about this as an American? Anyone that's outside of the United States that's paying attention to what's going on and that probably has way more knowledge than the American citizen, because a great deal of this news is not it's not given to the American people, and it's purposely not given because they don't want the American people to rise up. They don't want the American people to protest against these attempts. Again, as I said, I was going to be covering more geopolitical events and news because that's kind of the field that I have more interest in. Of course, domestic politics as well. But we're going to try to figure out how to implement everything in accordingly. Like, subscribe, leave your comments. Thank you, by the way, for giving comments, and, let me know how you feel about the reports that I do. At some point, I'm going to set up an account where you can start giving some donations of what you feel the information is worth, so I can have some kind of funds to get better equipment, to be able to grow the channel and produce more I would have to say produce better material, have a better camera, and not have to do everything from the phone, all of those wonderful things. I'm Chris Anthony, and again, disturbing news right here. But I want the pundits that take any of this seriously to just give me their comments about this. And I'm going to leave the link, the source of this particular article in the description so you can read it yourself and maybe ponder it and do a little bit more research on it yourself. I'm Chris Anthony, and I'm out.